It's kind of funny. I always tell you guys that uh, I don't want to get a hearing aid. I just don't want to. So I just realized over the last few weeks that there's a light on my street that's stuck on, and I'm on the side of the street that's town property. The other side of the street is Roy Zimmerman's complex, housing complex. The lights that are on that side, Roy has to maintain. The ones on my side are PPL. All right? There's a light stuck on. It's been stuck on, I don't know if it's a month, but I finally remembered to call. So I call PPL. First of all, I go online, and their website is totally worthless. You can if you have a wire down, you can report that, but you really can't do anything online. So I call on my phone, and I get this woman. And well, first they transfer you to a bunch of different things. I finally get this woman, and from her voice, I can say, "There's something wrong with this woman. There's something wrong with her." And I said, "On my street." Oh, first of all, the phone when I call it says, "We realize you're a customer. Is that true?" Yes. And I have to confirm my name and everything just to talk to somebody. So uh, they pushed me through to this woman that sounds weird. Now she wants to confirm everything. I said, I know that in front of you on the computer screen is all my information. Well, yeah, lady. There's something wrong with you. I know the game. I said I call about a light that's stuck on. Now she don't want to talk about the light that's stuck on yet until she confirms all my information. And so I'm going to go through it. I went through it. Well, we don't service that area. It's East Lampeter. I said, all right, let's use my address. Look at the screen and put it under Lancaster. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. When you call these companies, a screen comes up with all your information. Then I had to confirm my last name like one more time. Okay, now what's the problem? I said, what it originally was, there's a light stuck on my street. Well, your street, blah, blah, blah. I said, no, I'm on the side that's PPL. I've gone through this before. I've called before. I said, did you change any of your operation? Well, I'm not sure. I'm new. I'm like, yeah, I can tell you're new. I can tell that because you don't know what you're supposed to do, and now you're going to bullshit me, right? So I went a little bit longer, and finally, I said, let me talk to someone else. Let me talk to a supervisor, anybody else. And she wouldn't do that. And I'm like, you know what? I said, goodbye. You're stupid. I'm out of here. Boom, close the thing. See, the light's not in front of my house. It's down the street. But when I walk along, if I find a gas leak, I call up. If I find a wire down, I call up. Now, I decided to call my town. They're very nice. I called just a few weeks ago about the bill for the town, and they screwed up, and anyway, they're very nice when you talk to them. They know how to talk. They got pleasant voices. They're not stupid. And I said, look, I know it's really not your job, but I got a light that's stuck on my street, and I know I called PPL, but there was a stupid woman on the other end. So I went over with her. I said, can you help me? She says, yes, she can email to PPL the problem. So I go over with her, and she knows this street. And she said, what side of the street? I'm on the side of the street that PPL services. I start mentioning the town guys that plow the snow. I said, the other side's Roy Zimmerman. She says, yes. I said, no, I'm on the side it's my East Lampeter. It's our town, I said to her. And so she's got an idea, and I give her my address and my name and everything. And she says she'll forward an email, but they might also want the homeowner to call. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I said, I already did that. And I told the woman straight out, the woman's stupid. There's something wrong with her. I don't want to say she was retarded and they gave her the job, but you know what? She's got limited brain power. And I've done this my whole 17 years here. I never had that kind of problem. Now, the girl from the town said, there's a number on the pole. I said, look, let me tell you the honest truth. They came and they wire wheeled down the poles, and they're fiberglass. And they knocked all those tags off, and then they painted them black. And I said, every time they change a light now that goes out, they put a whole new uh, lighting fixture in there that's more efficient. I said, I know the guys. I go out and check on them. During the hot season, do they need water? But this time it's a little further down the street. And I said, yeah, I talked to them. And they tell me they're changing the inside of the light, so it's more efficient. The whole thing. I know. And I always mention them. The tags are all missing off all the poles. And he goes, yeah, that's the way it just happened. Yeah, they come down. They wire wheeled a fiberglass pole, and it's tapered. It's not a telephone pole. And they knocked the tags off them. And then some of the poles, they spray painted them. They're really hard to read. But anyway, so I told the woman, as soon as you look in Coreopsis, and she knew to put it down off Greenland Drive. As soon as you look in, it's on the right-hand side. It's the third light down. But yeah, I said to her, man, I was I used another word, but I was stupefied. This woman's saying it's not their light, and yeah, I do. I pay the town for that light. They charge you for how much light hits your house, but it's not my house. It's the light down the street that's out. And now the woman couldn't grasp it that somebody else would call up about a light that's stuck on. She don't know what to do. Yeah, but what was yesterday? Oh yeah, every day. This is my life. I tell you this. But why? Why did I have a problem with a knucklehead? Because I called, and I've seen that light stuck on for maybe a month. I lose the track. I'm getting older, but that's why I have a problem, because I get involved. I know someone down the street. We have to pay for that light, and someone down the street is probably pissed that they have to pay for that light, and it's annoying to see it stuck on. Also, it needs to be rebuilt and give them the new light. It's still one of the old ones, and you really don't get light out of it anymore, and it's a yellow tint. It needs to be replaced. Besides what's stuck, the on the top of the light, there's one of them sensors, and that's what's bad. They used to change them, but now they come down, they change the whole light. And it's so funny. When I talked to the guys, I said, yeah, the girl on the phone wanted me to go back to the pole and roll it over and get the number. And I know there's no number on the pole, and I'm not touching the pole, because when the pole gets hit by a car, it's hot. And I'm at that pole talking to the guy. He goes, that pole's hot. It's fiberglass, but it's hot. In other words, the sensor on the top of the light turns it on and off. But the wires at the bottom, when it's broken, anyway, he's saying to me, you don't touch the pole. I said, I knew that. The girl on the phone's going, tell me, go over and roll the pole. Yeah, I go over and get killed, and I don't call back. She won. Why did that guy call back? Yeah. Oh, man. But I told you, that's why I have these problems every day, because I get involved. And that's how I am. And and I'm calling. I'm like, this is a lady. This is like real simple. I give you the street. I tell you where the light is. You send somebody over and they fix it. But I have had problems in the past. But this one was so stupid. I just said, just hand the phone to somebody else. They're going to understand when the light is out or if it's stuck on. But this woman only knew how to do the paperwork if it's stuck off. It doesn't come on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, they're out there. And, that's a nice job, sitting there and answering phone. And then, it pays pretty good. It's not it's better than the dollar store. See, the dollar store, when you don't have a customer, you have to go put stock on the shelf. If you have time to lean, you have time to clean. And these people got these cushy jobs. And, yeah, she can help me if the light is out, but she can't help me if the light is stuck on. Oh, my God. And I was dumbfounded. I'm still dumbfounded. That person would say, gee, I never had somebody call before about a light that's stuck on. Let me ask the supervisor. And they do monitor the call. I hope someone goes through that and listen. back to when I first started the video. The woman says, "I can't hear you." I was like, "Holy shit! Do you know how loud I talk? Holy crap! You can't hear me." And I was going to say, "Why don't you buy a hearing aid?" But I didn't do that because I'm the same way. I don't want one. But yeah, this is what happened. It's every day is something. But if you don't want problems every day, don't get involved. But I come down my driveway and I look and I see the light stuck on, and then next day it's stuck on, stuck on. At some point, I feel as though it's my civic duty to call about the light that's stuck on. It's not, see, there's no problem. It's on all the time, and so people need the light. It's on, and at night maybe or during the day maybe that bothers them. But you're wasting energy. Plus, I know when they come to fix it, they're going to change the inside, and we're going to get one of the because the lights are white now. They're not yellow. These old ones, they're from 1986. That's how old they are, and they've been working. I think that's it. All right, that's it.